Sure. So thank you, all of you, for joining today. I myself, Apurva Bhatnagar, I manage BIG grant at IKP Knowledge Park. And a very welcome to all of you who are participating in this session. I would like to welcome and thank our partner IIT Madras and NIPERH Hyderabad for co-organizing this session with IKP, and our esteemed speaker, Dr. Bhatia, would be joining in a few minutes, and Dr. Ajit Kamath, he's an IISc alumni and has been in senior position in leading pharma companies such as Pfizer and Jubilant Biosystem. He is a startup advisor and expert reviewer. And thank you very much, sir, for joining and sparing some time for this session. And he'll be shedding light on and giving guidance to the applicants for the key elements on the BIG, what needs to be taken care. Dr. Vaibhav has joined. He is from Lamarck Biotechnology, a recent BIG grantee from IKP. He's working on thermostable proteins. I would better give them the platform to introduce while they will be speaking for this session. Dr. Ambuj Chaturvedi, he's a senior vice president at IKP Knowledge Park. He'll be joining in some time. Then we can go ahead probably. I would request Dr. Gaurav Gupta from Avishkaran NIPERH Hyderabad and Dr. Shivraj to please introduce themselves and organization for it quickly.
Sure. So thank you, Apurva, for the brief opportunity, and this webinar is definitely helping us. So we are from Avishkaran. This is a bionest of NIPERH Hyderabad, and our focus areas include healthcare, diagnostics, biotechnology, and pharmaceuticals. So pharmaceuticals is something we are specializing. So that's a very brief background, and we are working across all domains. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Anand Shivraj from IIT Madras Bioincubator. I'm the incubation manager here, and I'll briefly introduce about IIT Madras Bioincubator. We are a Bionest sponsored by Bionest. So we established in the year 2014, and we have supported till now 25 plus startups, and they have created they have generated funds to the tune of around 32 crores of money, the overall funding. And we have some of the big grantees as well. Recently, we have one of our startup have got a big grant in the big 20th call, and our operative domains include, though we are industrial biotechnology focused incubator, we also supported, companies in food tech, agri tech, health tech startups as well. We have now extended and our services to the established industry as well. So we have established, we have started giving, consultancy projects for the industry. Industry leaders like, Tamis Healthcare and Biocon. They have started. They have approached us, and they are going to start their consultancy R&D work here in our incubator facility. So that's it. Over to you, Apurva. Thank you for this great opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta and Dr. Shivraj. Dr. Vishnu is also here, though in the background he had been through a knee surgery, and we have given him some rest. He's been leading initiatives in grant and incubation in IKP. Quickly, I would like to jump on to my presentation. About IKP, it's a not-for-profit private science park, an incubator in Genome Valley at Hyderabad. And we have a pan-India presence through various funding initiatives and incubation support. And around 1230 plus innovators have been supported so far through various programs in IKP. And specifically through BIG, we have 172 BIG grantee till now. In short, BIG, it stands for Biotechnology Ignition Grant, which is an idea to POC grant of up to 50 lakh rupees, which is given for 18 months. The areas supported under BIG are medical device, drug and drug delivery, industrial biotechnology, secondary agriculture, diagnostics, and any digital AMI solution across all these areas would also be eligible for BIG. Basic eligibility criteria for BIG is anybody who's graduate and a startup with minimum 5 years of age would be able to apply for BIG. The selection process include biannual call for application in January and July, followed by a selection through online review, and after that face-to-face presentation, and then cutoff scoring has been decided to finalize the applicants. Main evaluation criteria throughout the selection process remains and across covers all these 5 points, which includes unmet need, value proposition, technical viability, team strength, and business perspective. Apart from these 5 pointers, commercialization potential, IP, and regulatory clarity are the another important aspects which applicant need to consider. When applicants or any aspirant write for any grant, these are the main 10 components they should include in the application. Our speakers would rather more talk about all these components and what are the key elements which plays a major role in the application getting selected. I would quickly go through one by one for each component. Title would be requested that only 7 to 6 letters in one sentence and precisely keeping try to keep the title short and precise, and which should reflect what you are trying to achieve in 18 months, but not as long as one paragraph. And when the introduction is asked, it could include problem statement, the problem you are addressing. If you give references for this problem, how many the data related to that problem would be encouraged. I have given few examples of some problem statement which people work around. Better to mention the problem you are addressing, how big it is, or even it could be a niche market as well. How many people are suffering or probably affected by that problem. In short, it's the market for the problem, and the people who are currently the conventional method to address that problem would also be included in the introduction in brief sentences, and what you are proposing, the solution you are proposing, including the technical details in the introduction, and what's current stage you are at, and any background IP if you are using, better to mention that in the introduction. These are important aspects: value proposition, differentiation, and competitive landscape. Be it BIG or any innovation grant, these 3 business jargons you would be hearing a lot, and you should know and able to define these in your proposal. Value proposition is simply how you position your product in the market and who are the customer you will cater to. There would be customer segments who you should know particularly who would be using your product. Differentiation, that how your product is different from the conventional methods and conventionally available products. Competitive landscape, I have made a table here which easily and clearly defines how your product is and how it is, where do you stand with respect to price, feature, and performance. A comparative chart with other products available and your product, what you are providing, is best way for the reviewer to understand your product. Team, better to include team in the beginning itself. PI should be, apart from being shareholder, if a scientific and technical competent person is PI, it's preferred, and better to define or take a written consent from the advisors and the team members beforehand, before mentioning their name in the presentation. Objectives and milestone. Please do not write any vague objective. If it is the process and the outcome should be very clearly defined in the objectives with the quantities mentioned. For example, characterization of activity instability is really vague sentence, which could be, you know, which could mean anything or any quantity, but better to define in the beginning so that you know what objective needs to be achieved. The tranches are released based on achieving those quantifiable objectives only. Dr. Weber would be able to better highlight on these aspects later on. Technical details, please include any preliminary data you have or any evidence which proof that you have a scientifically competent proposal. Any publication related to that would be encouraged to include in the proposal. Contingency plan, better to have a contingency plan in the beginning itself. If any buffer, any vector, any protein is not getting isolated, what alternate plan you would include, you would take, that would show your better preparation in the beginning itself. Budget, please do not write the cumulative amount. There are particular heads given in the budget for each component. Please calculate and accordingly put in the budget. IP strategy, really important aspect for any innovation grant. There could be multiple ways of IP that you can file for. Need not be, it could be an incremental innovation and don't have patent also, that is also fine. But there are multiple ways. If you are in pharma, formulation can be patented. Even the vials that has been designed could have been under industrial design. This is a example given. There are BIG grantee who, with the help of IKP Prime team, who's a IKP arm for patent and technology transfer segment. There is separate arm which is called IKP Prime. Dr. Hema, Vandana and Vittal, Manish and Harshada are the IKP Prime team, which I can post in the group later on. If any help related to claims or any possible claims you have in the pipeline for next 18 months or probably after that, you can mention in the proposal. Please don't write not applicable. If you have anything, even the background IP also, you have to mention in the proposals. I think these points the speakers will cover well in their speech. I think I would like to finish it here in the interest of time. Thank you so much for your time. You can visit the bit.ly partner link, which I'll be sharing in the chat message for any formats and more information on BIG. And you can write to NIPERH Hyderabad team who are from there and IITM. Dr. Shivraj, you can write to get support from IKP as a BIG partner. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I would request Dr. Weber to please share his point of views.
Hi, Apurva. Hello, everybody. Hello, Ajit sir. It has been,
Hi.
I think, after COVID, we have not seen each other.
That's correct.
Yeah, it has been long. Yeah. So, yeah, hello, everybody. Hello, Ambud sir. I could not see you, but I know you are there. So, great to have you, everybody, have everybody here. So, first of all, keeping things short, I think I have got like 10 minutes, right, Apurva? 10 or 12 minutes?
Yeah. 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it there. I love talking. So first of all, we should get well soon. He has been working so hard that he has to go through knee surgery. And I can tell you one very important point, that because that was the ending of Apurva. If many of you must be coming up with innovations and ideas, you really need a good partner, because there has to be a link created between you and the funding agencies like BIREC. And IKP has been a great partner. I'm not saying because I am on the IKP show, but Vishu, you would have seen last 2 years, if he works day and night without stopping, and that's what you need. Because as an entrepreneur, one thing you come up with, one thing that never leaves you is risk. If you're not taking risk, you're not an entrepreneur, right? And as an entrepreneur, it's it's the the capability to measure that risk, and it's the capability to reduce that risk that counts. So you need people around you who can listen to you again and again, because you are going to be changing, your positioning again and again. So you need people like that. And Dipanvita ma'am, Vishu, Ambut sir, from IKP, they all have been, great in that part for me. I was in Spain when I first interacted with Vishu, and he told me, "Oh, it's a great idea. Why don't you write to BIRAC, and we may be able to do something." And that is where my journey started. And today, what I would like to share is a lot of people, after I came to India, I saw early stage people. There are two major mistakes they do. One is I see a lot of people planning for big. Now, big is a very important platform, but you don't plan a business for big grant. No. So if that is the first thought in your mind, that I'm doing something to get a big grant, don't do that. Okay, you should not even come into the race. No, that is not the way you should go. The idea is how to manifest your passion into a vision, and how to convert that vision into an idea, which could be a POC, proof of concept. And for now, you need a seed money to make that proof of concept a reality. And this is the place you start looking for something like big. Of course, I always, Tatas, they also have a very good abbreviation. It's called take action, take action. That's, I always believe that. And it's very difficult for me to remember. As a scientist, we think a lot, we overanalyze everything. But as an entrepreneur, you have to take a lot of action, and many a times things are not in your favor, and you have to still take an action. But what exactly happens is, even when you are developing a POC, you have it is called the idea to POC grant anyway. Many a times you will not feel that you are already there to write a big grant, but still, big is a great platform to go and get advice. For example, Kamath sir is there, and he will tell, and a lot of other people who are there in the panel, when they ask you question, they help you introspect your own ideas. Okay, but everybody, either they are giving you money, that 50 lakhs, or they are giving you comments. It's nothing to do with giving you 50 lakhs. It's all about is, can they help you convert your idea, convert your vision into a reality? And do you know how to create a proof of concept which is small enough to show the world that this can happen? Because there is a problem, and just now Apurva talked about, there is a problem, and you think there could be a new solution, and only you think. I assure you, only you think. Nobody else thinks that way, and that is the problem. And this is the risk that you are taking. Nobody else believes in that, and you are trying to say something that nobody else believes. You're trying to convince them. And yes, words are important. How you write the grant is important, but that will not come out unless and until you are focused around the whole methodology of creating value. Okay, you may not be a businessman, but you should be a value creator. Okay, and you also need to know, and it's a very crucial point. It happens many a times for people who are in research for long. They think about creating value, but they don't think about how to convert that value into cash flow. And this is never said on BIRAC early stage platforms, but I have seen when you are in interviews and you tell them that how you're going to commercialize this, how you're going to go to the market, that really helps. And now with the strange competition, you are not talking about people who have just come with an idea. Many a times people are so clever that they have done, by bootstrapping. They know in India, the bootstrapping has become so good. They do hook and crook, but they make sure that they are able to show something to prove that their idea could be working. Okay. So you come with that kind of attitude. So it's very, very important. You also come with something extra, and that extra is how you will go to the market. What is your strategy to go to the market? And if you're going to the market, your competitors, how are you going to fight it out? And IKP Prime helps you there many times, very low cost, to develop your patent strategy. You need to know how are you going to stay rare in the market for long enough time that you can recover the money either BIRAC is putting on you, or you will put yourself, or somebody else will put later. Okay, so that these are the three components that I always say. You need to know what risk you're taking. You need to learn how to measure that risk. Also, you need to know how to reduce that risk. Then you need to know where exactly you're going to sell it, how you're going to create a cash flow. It may not happen. And this is the part of your risk reduction strategy. You may have to pivot. Your original idea was to make a mosquito repeller, but now you realize that the same technology you could use to repel elephants, you do that. You know, you were thinking about keeping elephants away, but there are no elephants left. But the same technology you can use in something else, you use that. Because the idea is not about just creating POC. Yes, the idea is to show that if this fails, what are you going to do? Not only at a technical level, but also at a business level. So I always say, don't plan for big, plan big. That's very crucial here. Okay. And yes, lastly, uh, when you when you try to reduce that risk, when you try to pivot, when you try to adapt your solutions, one thing you always come up with is a passion, a kind of a what do you say, uh, feelings inside you that show up in your presentations, when you go for interview, when you write it. Details would be talked about by other people, but one thing I would say, there are standard ways to present few things, like how to present a problem and how to propose a solution, how to design a slide which shows very clearly what is your IP strategy, how to show what are your competitors and how you differentiate from them. So there are very standard things to do. Okay, so you have to really build up on a startup idea and not just the big 50 lakh grant. That is one thing. And lastly, I would say, and one thing I noticed, and it's my perspective, I would stop there, is if you are a faculty, if you are a researcher, you have an advantage of making a good POC yourself. Make sure that in your team there is somebody who is or who could become 100% dedicated to the idea, because you have to show the panel that okay, today it's just a POC, but if it works, then there is somebody who is there to take it forward. Maybe tomorrow a unicorn or $1 trillion business. That's what your brain has to be. So you don't go only there. Okay, I would see somebody will come. No, try to find somebody who could be a student or somebody who can be 100% dedicated. If this works, at least if not today, tomorrow there has to be somebody 100% committed. So the commitment has to be there for the business part. I rest my case, and any questions we would be very happy to discuss. And I am also eager to listen to Kamath sir and Ambu sir. So I will keep it short. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vaibhav, fantastic job. As a BIG grantee, as a grantee, I know you went through all the hardships, and now you're on the other side. But it's always nice listening to what you're saying. One thing that I want to highlight, which you aptly captured, Vaibhav, is don't do this for BIG money. Okay, if you are submitting an application thinking that you will start your project depending upon BIG grant, that's not the right start. Okay, you have to start. Okay, BIG is a contribution to your effort. It's not that you say, oh, if I get BIG, then only I will start. That it will be a non-starter. Okay, yeah. But first of all, thank you. Wish you, if you're there, and Apurva and Ambuj and everybody, for all your hard work to encourage people to apply for the BIG grant. Also, I want to thank others, incubation managers, CEOs from NIPERH and IIT Madras, encouraging people to participate. It's very, very important. I'll try to keep it brief, but I'll go to the point. I've been with BIG in multiple levels for last, I would say, maybe 6 years. Okay, what I like is the transparency, and I'm glad Apurva put those slides there to say how exactly the committee reviews each of those proposals right at the beginning, and then technical evaluation, and finally during the presentation, and how we score each of them. Okay, and that's exactly the same. Okay, all of us sit and do exactly what Apurva put it there. Nothing changing. Okay, with regard to what exactly we are looking for. Okay, so let me start from saying that BIG grant is not for you to set up a company and make lots of money at the beginning. It is for the initial stage. Okay, TRL1, TRL2, TRL3 at the most. If you're already making a product and you're ready to go to the market, then there are other schemes from Government of India and BIRAC to support you. But this is essentially at very idea stage, idea to proof of concept. If you can demonstrate that, that's enough for 50 lakhs. Okay. And these are things that you definitely need to keep in mind. I'm sure your incubation managers and IKP will all help you to kind of fine tune your thought process and capture it in the document. Okay, so I have some pointers for you. The funding is for, again, testing the ideas and confirming the proof. There's a proof of concept study. Okay, keep things straight and simple. Okay, that's again very important. Don't get into too much complications. You can mention that, but don't confuse the reviewers. Don't confuse the BIG people who are sitting and reviewing your proposal. And we have perhaps 8 minutes, and another 4 minutes, 5 minutes for questions. So, so try to keep it as simple as straightforward, because this is the idea. Okay, it's your idea. And how do you convert that into a proof of concept, saying that, this is what I'm thinking, and this is so much information is there in the literature. So many people have worked, other companies have worked on it, and I think this is the way. They have taken this path, I've taken this path, and I think this is doable. This is very much doable, and I'll finish it in 18 months. Okay, that is it. So try to keep it, as simple and straightforward as possible. Okay, that is very important. Okay, if you are writing the review, if you are writing the proposal, again, don't complicate it. Try to make it as a nice story. Okay, I have reviewed large number of these proposals that come in, and sometimes it gets too dragging to follow. But there are some that are fantastic. You want to read. It's like a story. You want to say, oh, what happens next? What is he is planning to do or she is planning to do? How do you think it can go to the market? Okay, all these things can be captured very well. Okay, and in a very simple, straightforward way. Again, your incubation managers will help you, IKP will help you. So keep some of these things so that there is a nice flow of your thought process, how we are taking it from idea till proof of concept, and then eventually into the market and other things. Okay, the next point: don't promise too many things. We see that very often. Okay, that if you give me this 50 lakhs, I'll carry out all this work, and then it is ready to go into the clinical trial. I mean, for projects that are into human diseases. We never ask for those things. I mean, it's important for you to know, what you are planning to do in the clinical trial and everything else. Okay, how will you take it in the clinical trial? But don't promise things because it takes crores of rupees to think about those things and even to bring your project to that level. However, if you say, with this 50 lakhs, I'll carry out the following studies of proof of concept, I'll try demonstrate the activity in animals, I'll make perhaps 20 compounds, 100 compounds, and show some SAR activity, because there are people from NIPERH, I'm just bringing it to you. Okay, there may be something similar from Agri and other devices. So there may be equivalent examples from other areas, but I'm just taking drug discovery as a to make very nice molecules. Okay, we have been able to show a couple of them having fantastic activity, biochemical activity, cell-based activity, and we have shown some animal activity. That's enough. Okay, you don't have to say I'm making 1 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilos, because that's not enough. For 50 lakhs doesn't take you there. Okay, so try to keep it straightforward. Proof of concept. Remember that. Okay, from your idea, bring it to proof of concept and say, once this is successful, this is how I'm going to take it to the next level. Okay, and that's where I think what Vaibhav said is very critical. What are you planning to do next? Okay, how will you who will you work with? Okay, how will you scale it up? Who are your partners? You are in the incubator space. You may say, we'll not be able to do it here, but I've already talked with party A, party B, CRO. They will be able to help me here. Those thought processes have to be there, because it's your company. Your company is not working on just 50 lakhs. Your company is working on large amount, and 50 lakhs is just help from the government as a grant to support you. Okay, so think about beyond what you can do, beyond the proof of concept, how you are planning to take it forward. That is Very, very important. And if you have talked with others, it's important for you to know how others are thinking about your project. And like Vaibhav said, everybody will give their thought. We all want you to succeed. That's the bottom line. Okay, IKP wants you to succeed. Your incubation managers want to succeed. Vaibhav wants you to succeed. I want you to succeed. Okay, because we are the ones who are going to make a difference. Okay, starting your own company, and this is our way of saying we are here to help you. Okay, and this discussion today is just to tell you, how you can, fine tune your presentations, how you can fine tune your thought process so that it becomes successful. We don't want to miss out. If you have a nice idea, it is not presented well, then it's a loss. It's a loss for you. It's loss for all of us. So, don't promise too many things. Keep it as straightforward as possible, and then take it forward. And then, obviously, if you have some preliminary data, please share it with the team, and I think that will also you will get more confidence in the hypothesis that you are developing or the idea that you have. If you have some preliminary data from yourself, that will be very good, because then that the committee will know that you have already started working, and it's not that you're waiting for the BIG grant even to test your hypothesis. So it's important that you do it. If not, give similar examples from the literature, saying that this is what they have done, and I've started working on it and have some preliminary data. I think that will be very, very useful. Okay? But it has to differentiate. Any product that you're developing has to be different than maybe 10 other players in the market. So how would you differentiate? Whether it is, unique molecule. Again, I'm giving an example of from the pharmaceutical side of it. Is it that your formulation is better than what others have, or is it that single dosage versus 3 times a day dosage? Is it quantity less? Is it more effective? And there may be so many USPs, unique selling points for your platform. Same thing for the agriculture too, or medical devices and everything else. So you have to bring that up, and then competitive landscape. How is your platform different than others? And if theirs is better, then who is going to buy your product? Okay. So again, keep some of these things. I think Apurva covered quite well there. And then I think in some cases, what happens is the presenters say, this is confidential, we can't tell you. Okay, but all of us, whoever is reviewing your proposal, whoever is listening to your proposal during presentation, we have signed CDA, okay, with the government saying that we will not reveal anything to anybody. Okay, so if you don't have to show the structure, but at least give some idea as to what that is, so that we start appreciating the work. Okay, so please be assured that any information you're sharing with the committee is all confidential. Okay. Now coming to your presentation. Okay, if you have any experts, I mean in your committee, I think Vaibhav covered it again. If you have anybody who's an expert, bring that person in on your committee, because the team composition is very, very critical. If that person is a member of your team, whether it's expert in agriculture or devices or clinician, that person adds a lot of value. So if that person can be there during the presentation, I think that will also be helpful in case there are any specific questions that will come up. Then a couple of more points. One is if you go through the entire process and you are called for a presentation, keep the slides simple. 8-minute presentation. Okay, we have people from different backgrounds, 6 to 8 people sitting there and listening to your presentation for 8 minutes. If you are presenting too much in your slides, then I think you will lose their attention. They will not be able to pay much attention. So try to keep simple, bullets and explain things to them within the given time, so that they grasp everything that you're saying, and don't get distracted. So it's very, very important. And then the last one, obviously very, very important for all of us, is to how we can have a product out of this. Okay, eventually whatever money that Government of India is supporting through the BIG grant is to make sure that you have enough, commercial potential in your project. If so, how are you planning to take it? Is it that you work with the third parties, or you work with government officials, you work with some hospitals? You need that commercialization potential discussed a little bit. If you say that, yeah, this is a very nice project, I hope somebody will buy it, that's not going to go anywhere unless you show the path. Okay? If you say that, yeah, this is a very good science, it's not going to help Government of India or anybody. Okay, unless you say that, yes, this science, I'm converting it into a nice product, and this is going to help so many people in agriculture, or so many medical devices, or so many people with diseases. Okay, so BIG is a great way of getting recognition for your work. And as Vaibhav mentioned, I think you will get a lot of feedback. Take it positively, incorporate it, improve it, and then then go through the process of applying, and then hopefully some of you will be BIG awardees, and you can help others in round 21, round 22, and beyond. So I'll stop it there, Purva. I'll be glad to take any questions, and I think Ambuj may have
Sure, sir.
his comments to make.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words.
I have
Q&A we can take later on after Dr. Ambuj's speech, because he has to leave in probably 10-15 minutes. Dr. Ambuj, would you like to please take over now?
Oh, I certainly would like to. I would have actually liked to hear more from Dr. Ajit Kamath. Evening, sir. I see Vaibhav is getting wiser and wiser by the day. Your look is getting more and more entrepreneurish day by day. So hello everyone from IIT Madras and NIPERH. This is Dr. Ambuj Chaturvedi. I'm part of IKP now. I've been a reviewer for BIRAC for the last 5 years. And again, gone through more than about 2,000 applications, reviews. And what I'm going to talk to you for the next maybe 3 or 4 minutes is a distilled kind of set of insights on what, and a lot of it has actually been covered by, Ajit sir. And so I won't be repeating that, but, I typically start off with an anecdotal example. Apurva and Vishu know that very well. I'm not going to make that, so I'm not going to take that example today. I'm not going to talk about how you judge a book. Instead, I'm going to go to a different, fresh one that just occurred to me 5 minutes back. So I don't know how many of you have seen that movie Jolly LLB. Yeah. If you haven't, you might want to look at this character, the character played by Saurabh Shukla, the judge. And, at one point of the movie, towards the end, when he's concluding his remarks as a judge, he says, from the first day that the case comes to me, I know what the truth is. But then I'm a judge, so I'm supposed to, and I'm waiting and waiting for the one piece of evidence which can nail this, one piece. And the judge wants that one piece of evidence for him or her to be able to take that call. He keeps on waiting. Usually the piece of evidence doesn't come. And then, of course, there's a movie. But the key thing that I found in that statement was, when you're looking at, and similarly, like a judge, the reviewers at BIRAC, at the BIG panel, have gone through thousands of applications. They've been there. I mean, I was there for 5 years. There have been people who have been there for 10 years. Ajit sir must have been there for more than a decade now, 10 years, 15 years. Even when you read the presentation, you come to know whether this pitch is going to make it or not. But now what you're doing is you're only assessing this on 3 parameters. You're saying, has this entrepreneur identified the problem? It's the first piece. Second thing, has this entrepreneur figured out the optimal solution, not the best solution, optimal novel solution? And 3, does this entrepreneur and his team have it in him or her to be able to deliver the solution? That's it, period. That's what the reviewers are assessing you in those 20 minutes. Now, and again, what Vaibhav actually mentioned is right. You don't actually go into a BIG panel thinking that mujhe BIG crack karna, because BIG is one step in the entire process. As an entrepreneur, it's probably, for many entrepreneurs, it is the first port of entry. For a lot more, there are other smaller grants that come in and then they reach here and then they move. So you will have different pathways to ultimately reach your goal. BIG is one such, but it's a big and a grand milestone that you'll have in your entrepreneurial journey. And so when you get into it, there are two aspects. You first develop or build a value, and then you build your pitch. Value, a lot of points have been covered, but I'll just quickly put in certain points from the medtech side. So I'm a clinician who's post his MBA moved on to the medtech corporate world, companies like J&J and Medtronic, and then subsequently to IKP. And so there's a concept called clinical immersion. And what it means is that, the essence of clinical immersion is empathy. A lot of people think that it is note-taking. It is not. Clinical immersion means that if I can stand in the workspace of a nursing practitioner or a healthcare worker, a doctor, a surgeon, a physician, and I can feel his or her pain. So for example, if you're standing in a surgeon's OT and observing a surgeon for 2 months, and the surgeon, draws the first suture in and the suture breaks. Can you feel the pain? Because once a suture breaks, that means the entire anastomosis is now gone for a toss. Now the surgeon will then have to go for another suture, which means that whatever anastomosis has been done till now, gone, right? And there's a tremendous amount of, and when you start feeling that pain, that's when a clinical immersion is done. So that's the first essence. Spend a lot of time with your prospective customer and where you're solving the problem, because that is going to give you your clear problem statement that will solve 60% of your problems. The biggest problem with entrepreneurial pitches is the problem statement itself. And that's ironical, actually. The second piece is, once you start developing the solution, there are only 3 things that are required to be looked for in a solution. Is it relevant? Is it feasible? And is it monetizable? And that's it. It doesn't, that's what. And now for this, you need again 2 things: validation, qualitative validation, and quantitative validation. Qualitative validation is in form of VOCs, voice of customers. And typically, again, and that is again an important point, So while I'm here, there is a parallel review going on in a PMO program called Jancare, which is a central government's initiative around digital healthcare startups. So IKP is hosting that as well. So I'm doing a to and fro from here and there. And you look at those solutions, and one of the reviewers in that review today mentioned, it's not enough for you to ask gynecologists whether they're interested. You go to a gynecologist. It was a OBGYN solution. And then you go to a gynecologist, they'll say, yeah, it's good. The key thing is, will you pay for it? If you pay for it, how much will you pay for it? And if the answer is dodgy, then, well, everyone wants you to do something in life, but are they willing to bet on you? And when you pay, when you're ready, willing to pay, that's when you are betting. And a lot of the work in the POC happens around those areas, where you figure this piece out, the solution piece. The other piece is data. So when Ajit sir was talking about, drug discovery, and you're talking about the entire concept of data, there has to be significant amount of body of data, body of evidence for you to be able to make that claim in front of the reviewers. You don't need to present everything there on that slide. You need to just put the highlighting marks, but in your appendix, your entire set of data is going to actually help you validate. That typically happens in the Q&A. Go to the market. The other part of the value is the market sizing, how you've done the market sizing, how you've arrived at unit economics. And that's a strong concept, which is used not only in BIG reviewers, it is used across, even when you move further in the journey with investors. They're going to ask you unit economics. And essentially what it means is, if you sell 1 unit of your product or your service, how is the entire breakup? How is the breakup of what's the breakup? What's the cost involved? What's the logistics involved? What's the margin? And so on and so forth. And if you're able to figure that out and articulate that very clearly in front of a reviewer, you've actually almost won the bat. So 60% is on the problem statement. The other 30% is on the solution. Last 10% is on stuff like whether have you understood the market? How have you profiled your competitors? Team. I mean, we saw some teams today, they're talking of an AI solution in so-and-so imaging modalities, and there's not one doctor, not one radiologist on the team. What do you expect the review panel to then take a call? Right? So then those are subtle aspects, how well-rounded your team is. And finally, if you're asking for 50 lakh or whatever your amount is, how are you going to deploy it? So a lot of people start putting 15 lakh manpower, 15 lakh. No, you need to be granular there. You need to be that 15 lakh manpower ka matlab kya hai? So will it be Will it be on coders? Will it be on testers? Will it be on scientists? What will be and that gives confidence to the reviewers that we are putting because this is not the reviewers' money, this is the government's money, and so it has to be it has to be deployed with full responsibility. They are looking into your eyes for that confidence. Give them that confidence, and that will come only with the way you put in. Ye ho gaya value wala part. Pitch. How you pitch? Well, it's an art, I can say. So, you talk to a couple of people and they can come and talk to you and you feel ki ye kab band karega. And then there are some people who you think, yaar, ye bolta hi rahe to acha hai. Yeah. So it's an art in a way, but if you want to modelize it in a way, I would say that, once you make a pitch and an 8-minute pitch, practice. You talk to your fellow entrepreneurs, you talk to your team members, you pitch it to any Tom, Dick, Harry that goes out there, you talk to the reviewers, you talk to prospective mentors, and I'm sure IIT Madras and NIPERH have their own set of mentors. Of course, with collaboration with IKP, you can have an access to many more, and just keep on pitching. There's nothing better than pitching and practicing and making it that, and though there are two types of practice, so two types of timelines, one that 8-minute pitch for BIG, and the other is a 90-second pitch, the elevator pitch, so-called. You need to be, raat ko 2 baje uthe na, you should be able to make that 90-second elevator pitch. Because mind you, there have been times when the entire presentation is gone, 90 minutes are done, and they say, can you summarize this? Can you summarize? And it was a trick question. Can you summarize whatever you just said in the next 1 minute? And people have fumbled. People said, I was creating a solution for a and they're lost. No, if it is the last 1 minute, that is it. Wo ek hi minute aapko decide karega, that 50 lakh wala thing. You need to have a 60 to 90-second pitch. Practice. The other piece is network. As entrepreneurs, you will need to network along with other entrepreneurs. You will realize that a lot of times when you talk to other entrepreneurs, they have their ideas, you have yours, and you can bounce off, and you're all fellow comrades, so to say, right? You could also potentially find synergies with another startup. And a lot of times that helps too. And of course, you have someone who understands your pain like no one else. And so, practicing, networking within the review panel. Well, if there's one trick that I can say, spot your champion, which means that when you make your 8-minute pitch and now you have a 12-minute Q&A, out of those 10 to 12 expert reviewers, there'll be 1 or 2 who will be asking you a little too many questions. Realize that these are people who are subject matter experts. Therefore, they are probing you further. If you can crack them, you've cracked the entire crowd. You've cracked the entire panel. So spot your champions, spot them well, and then answer those questions in a crisp and precise manner. You should be through. And finally, once the results are out, some are going to make it, a lot are not going to make it. If you think that BIG is the only thing in your life, tab to ho gaya aapka. But if you believe that this is one stepping stone, and there are times, I mean, Ajit sir will agree with me. There have been times that we had scored 60 and 61 or 60.5, 60.7. Now, and you only have this much budget. So you have to stop. And 0.2 is no difference at all. But on that day, this entrepreneur probably scored that 0.2 more than the other one. Now, we've seen that a lot of people take it very, I wouldn't say sportingly, grudgingly, or whatever. Some people who actually go out and make a, story out of it, or so. I mean, આજકાલ social media, this is the social media generation. So, it can give you some initial satisfaction when you vent it out on social media. It's not going to help your cause any which ways. It's not going to affect the review panel, first of all, and it is definitely not going to further your purpose. If you are an entrepreneur and you are getting into this ecosystem, you are, ideally speaking, you should be in it for the long run. And remember, aaj aap BIG mein 50 lakh pe baithe hain. Tomorrow you will be at pre-series A, then series A and B and further. Every week, and that's what I keep on typing, every week I get at least 1 or 2 calls from different investors, VCs, PEs, all across the country saying, Doc, what do you think about this? Because you must have seen this startup 2 years back, and what do you think? Everyone is talking to everyone. So there is a brand associated with you from the day you enter, and you better be very careful on what brand you actually want to build in the ecosystem. Baki, I think the other parts are all common sense. You can reach out to team IKP, you can reach out to Apurva and Dr. Vishu as and when you have questions. we're all there. All the best for your journey. And great seeing you, Weber, and Dr. Ajit once again. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, any questions? Anybody wants to ask any questions to Vaibhav, me, and Apurva?
Yeah, so my name is K. Narayan Pai. So actually, I'm asking you, like, this is for biotechnology only or sector agnostics actually, So I have a IP-based software that we tested. So we got patent and we did a small kind of crude prototype actually. So can we apply for this grant, sir? Hello?
Apurva.
So
Yeah,
what this software is like, what is this for? Is it
This is actually a consumer tech, ma'am. It's a group building software, So it automatically builds a group or something. Yeah, something like it's a consumer tech product. Yeah. So we can apply for that. It involves patent also. I mean,
for BAG is actually our life science and allied area startups.
So you have to bring your specific use case, what you are referring. So when you are saying consumer goods, it is including everything. So if you can bring the use case with reference to a particular example, then we will be able to talk. So I would request, Anand to, connect Narayan with us, and then we'll be happy to talk. So some are like a platform technologies, which can be used very broadly. So if there is an innovation that really helps, certainly, it's not just biotechnology, agriculture, environment, waste management, many allied areas are also included. But your use case is more important for us to tell whether it will fit in or not.
Yes, this is community building tools, a community building tool. If you want to build a community, so this is a tool for that, and it's a without password actually. We log in.
Okay. So
smart login. Yeah.
Narayan. So I will go into more details maybe on one-on-one call.
Yeah.
So if it is a very general one, it will not fit into this call. So we have to look at the use case and we have to look at the commercial viability.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Pradeep Bhatia from AIMS Jodhpur.
Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Pradeep.
Yeah, so I have invented a device, oxygen delivery device. I'm a professor working here and I have been an intensivist working in the intensive care unit for last more than 20 years. So as an end user and being a clinician, I know the requirement and I have found a solution and I have made a prototype of it also. Spending from my own pocket, unfortunately, but then it is basically an oxygen delivery device which delivers heated and humidified oxygen. So in market, the economic devices that are available, they don't heat and they don't humidify the oxygen, so it is dry, which is delivered to the patient, which is not very pleasant, and the patient doesn't tolerate it at a higher flows, which often the patient may require but won't tolerate because it is dry. So the other devices that are available, heated humidified oxygen, they are very costly, costing about 2.5 lakh to the hospital. So that device is a bit too complicated, but I have found an easy solution, ready to be installed. I mean, ready to use sort of plug and play sort of solution. And the first prototype is ready and I have used it, and as per my expectations, I have found it extremely useful. Now my problem is why I'm discussing all these things with you. That okay, I'm an innovator, I'm an end user, I know that this works, I can go for clinical trials, that is not a problem. The only problem is I'm not a businessman, I don't know how to move ahead. So I have presented this whole thing with the India Sweden innovation at Dubai, then CCAM people, they charged something and they made a prototype, and some improvisation is still to be done, which for that I'll need money. But then the main question remains, first of all, as a government employee, can I have a startup? I guess it is probably not the case. I guess I'm not sure about the rules. And secondly, since it will be the first case at AIMS Jodhpur, they don't have all the documents ready which are required by for this grant. So it may take time, and I really don't know how to go ahead. And technology transfer can be one thing which in future I may think, but then since I'm not a businessman, I have never been to business, I don't know how to commercialize it. So a little bit of guidance from you.
Ajit sir, you would like to answer this?
No, I think Dr. Ambuj may be ideal. It's a device.
No, I'm just happy. I am just happy that we have clinicians like Dr. Bhatia actually looking at innovation, because clinicians tendency hoti hai, they are jugadus because they have to work, and especially jab sarkari mein kaam karte hain, you're working with all kinds of constraints, and we do have to come up with this. So it's I'm really happy. On the business aspect, yes, I agree. Dr. Sahab, your primary responsibilities will be clinical in nature, and so therefore what you've done probably is because of you saw a need, and so that part is completely taken care of. One of the approaches, and then I'll open it up to the other, Vishu, Apurva and all, but I think the way it should be is that first of all, you need to protect your IP in this. So you need to,
I have applied for that, and it has been published.
हाँ, तो सबसे पहले तो आप first of all you have to protect your IP.
That is done. That is done.
Second thing is then, it's a question of networking. So now you need to catch, if you're in Jodhpur, I don't know, Apurva should be the best person, which is the closest incubator for Professor Dr. Saab, to basically get in touch with an incubator. The incubators have all this entire paraphernalia.
Yeah, incubator, maybe India Sweden Medical Innovation Center, they probably can be an incubator, because I have been in touch with them, and they they took me and many other innovators to Dubai and then showcase our case. So I guess they will be.
You will need to build a team, sir. You need to build a team. So
my all contacts are not businessmen, actually. That is the problem.
So that is where the incubator can help you. Basically, as an intensivist, you have a team in the ICU. You have different skill sets. You need to have people who are techies, maybe a techie on board, maybe an MBA on board, a BD professional on board, and you'll have to get these folks, and the incubator can help you. But Apurva, Dr. Kamath, anything that from comes from you?
Dr. Bhatia, I think it's very nice that as a clinician you are developing a product, and is being used for the patients, and that's a validation. Okay, that itself is very good. Except that it's still in your in the clinic, and it has to be a business component. So again, I think we'd love to reach out to people in your place. If not, Apurva or Vishu may be able to provide you some contacts so that you'll be able to make it as a business case, and then perhaps work with the hospital or some hospital chains to see the business, how you can make it as a business, and then apply.
Yeah, precisely. That is my problem. How to commercialize that?
Yes, Dr. Pradeep. So I would request you to touch base with us. I'll write the team. You can write to Team BIG. The important point is you can go ahead with BIG because you are a technical. We can discuss it further. You might not be directly the PI, maybe a scientific advisor probably, and any other person from the team can take it ahead. But we can discuss all the nitty-gritties if you can write to Team BIG at IKP Knowledge Park.
And we have few doctors who actually came up with ideas, and they are taking the BIG. Yes, it's a lengthy process, but certainly we can connect with them and ask how they were able to, since you are already in a hospital and you are connected, and I see that you are intensive all this. So certainly I think we can connect some of the dots, and we will talk with you, sir. I request Apurva to put the email ID, Team BIG, and I will request Dr. Bhatia to just send a few lines. Since the patent is already published, maybe you can just enclose. We will go through it and come back to this.
Yeah, sir, in my case, sorry to disturb. In my case, I got granted in month of March, May only, sir. I got both India and US patent got granted.
Perfect. So please connect through Anand. I will request again Apurva. This email ID you can send with a CC to IIT Madras Incubator. So we will take it from there.
Okay, sir.
I can also add something here for both of you. I think Dr. Bhatia, IKP is gonna also have an event coming up, and that's a very great place to meet new and other young talents, and you may click your chemistry with somebody. So I know you generally would love to go to clinical gatherings, but this kind of gatherings that IKP organizes is gonna really help. Who knows, you find a partner there.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, which is that event, and when is it going to be organized?
October 29th and 30th, sir. We will send you an invite also. Please reply there. It is called IKMC 2022. And Apurva, I request you to send a personal invitation to Dr. Bhatia for this.
Thank you. So nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Will
thank
it be
you.
a physical or online? Physical or online?
Yeah, for me
This
also.
year we are hoping it will be physical, sir.
At Bangalore?
Bangalore?
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody? We are here to help you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Hi. My name is Nitish. I'm here, a senior scientist based in a small biotech company in Philadelphia. I have an idea for a startup, and it's actually I've thought it through, considering the mission statement, elevator pitch, and how the company may prosper in the future. So in terms of commercialization, upscaling the technology. So it's basically going to be a recombinant virus technology that will be targeted towards a particular subset of cancer. But unfortunately, I don't have any patent or a prototype or anything. It's only at the ideation stage, but I would like to add that the ideation is pretty solid. So I have a plan for 18 months and how I'm going to utilize the funds on reagents or resources or people, etc. So the question is, am I eligible for this? And if not, what things can I improve at this stage? What all kind of people can I get on board right now, apart from scientific advisors and business advisors, to make this work?
Hi, Nitish. I see that you are
Hi.
from University of Würzburg.
Yeah, Vishu, we have met actually.
Yes, and some people, postdocs who came from there, they received the BIG. I will actually connect with them. They also exactly like you. So they were
Okay.
working in the lab, had an idea, came to India as a postdoc and got BIG. And they will be able to answer to the entire line. And since we all are from the same university, it's more easy to just directly connect. And I will request Apurva to share their phone numbers.
Okay. Great.
But
That's
you
awesome.
can send a few of the details by email. So anything we can do very quickly because there is only 10 days time is there. We have to move.
Okay, so I'll send you email directly then.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Nitish.
Thank you.
Any other question from anyone?
Maybe I can add one point here, what Nitish was asking, and
Yes, please.
this is one thing that has happened to me in our some previous projects, and he does not have a patent, and it is one of the reasons why when you go to, and I think Dr. Ambuj also talked about this, when you go to the presentation and when you write, you are so scared about detailing what you are doing that you don't tell anything at all. So the other person is not able to understand anything at all. So we don't get any money. I would say that part is one thing you should work on. You will apply, but make sure you explain what you are doing. You don't have to detail how you are doing. It's okay because how is going to part of the pattern. But what you are doing, try to summarize it as good as possible, where the other person is able to understand, and you don't have to divulge any information which is going to be confidential, but you should be able to divulge out enough information for them to understand. This is one trick there. So I thought I will mention it, and it could be useful for others also who don't have a patent now.
Yes,
So focus
that's
on
very
what you
useful.
are doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Any other question? The question we have received in the Excel sheet are actually answered here. Some of them were related to process and others have got answered here. If anybody have another question, we can take it now. From NIPERH IITM, if you have any question, we can take it.
We don't have question, but we have just one suggestion that many of the applicants, since BIREC is a multi-stage process and the first line is based on your application purely, so draft in such a way that it gives complete message, because first round of application will be the online review by the experts. So look at the guidelines and understand the processes. because many of them apply and they don't give enough information for the reviewer to screen it properly. So please understand the levels and then you apply. So that's one suggestion from NIPERH side.
Thank you, Dr. Gaurav. Very valid suggestion. Okay, so if we do not have any other question, I would like to thank our speakers and participants. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Ajit sir, Dr.
Sure,
Weber.
sure. Thank you. Best of luck to everybody.
Dr. Weber, you are on mute. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I add
Thank you,
something here,
NIPERH team.
Apurva?
Yeah.
Sorry, because I think this is recorded and everybody is going to be listening. Later also, somebody will listen, and this is very important. I'm sure if many of you are going to be writing for the first time, and there are going to be a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. You know, your mistakes as an entrepreneur are very important. So make sure that you write it and submit it in time. Let it be. It's going to be mistakes. You can always correct them. If 10 days are left, so don't worry about everything. Don't get overbogged with every thought that comes. And as somebody said, you know, and there is one component here about complementarity in team. Like Dr. Bhatia is looking for somebody who's in business. You know, identify your strengths and find a complementary person, because the jury would be looking at, they can't judge you, but they are looking at, can you judge yourself throughout the process after you take the money? So make sure the team that you give is like equivalent. You say you are your own judge there. Okay, so that part you work on definitely. I took 3 attempts to clear it, so I want to make sure that everybody understands that a failure from there is not gonna. So take fail, even if you don't get it, it's okay. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of learnings in every time. I think Ambu sir mentioned I look more wise because of those 3 failures I had. So 2 failures, sorry. So it's important that you make mistakes and just do it. You know, whatever comes, don't stop. Don't make sure that you submit the plan, whatever it is. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Weber.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
If anybody have any further question and would like to have one-on-one, please write to